Hello there, people of the internet. I've had a lot of people complain about my preferences whenever it comes to firearm selections. First, I will have people complain and they'll ask me, why do you want something like that? It's outdated, it's obsolete, compared to the modern things that we have available to us nowadays, there's no practical reason for you to have that. And for those people, I'm going to tell you, I have things for fun. I've got my practical stuff. Once you have your practical stuff all set and good and on standby, and you can go to it in the event that you need to, you can start getting things for enjoying yourself. As a matter of fact, that's one of the things that makes life worth living. I enjoy old guns. And although they're not the most practical anymore, they definitely could still be pushed into some kind of service. Like, for example, one of my more practical firearms that is still an old firearm, I have this leaning over here. This is an Avito Mauser that's been rechambered for technically 7.62 CEPME, but I fired 7.62 NATO, like thousands of rounds of 7.62 NATO through this rifle. 7.62 NATO you can get regularly, easily, cheaply, especially in comparison to other full-powered rifle cartridges. It's a nice, lightweight, handy little carbine. In terms of practical purposes, this right here, just because of what it is chambered in, would probably be one of the better options. I've also got an Ishapore 2A1, and that one would also be a really good option because it's got 10-round mag and detachable magazines and whatnot. But there are still some viable things out there, but definitely, like, say an AR-10 and 308 would just absolutely blow this thing out of the water. But I like this. Now I've got my practical stuff. If something hits the fan, I am not going to go grab this over something like that right there. But in the event that I needed to, this would not be the worst option available. Then there's other things. As a matter of fact, like, depending on the AR that you get, most of your mid-grade to budget stuff, most of your entry-level ARs to mid-tier ARs are typically going to be like 4 MOA rifles. And I mean, that's fine. That's a good standard of accuracy for what most people are going to use an AR for, but they're not going to be the most accurate. However, if you go out and you get yourself one of these old, obsolete guns, this right here is a Swiss K31. I've gotten 1-inch groups out of this thing pretty regularly. It's also significantly significantly more powerful than, say, a 223. So if you need more power and more accuracy, hey, these old guns might still be a valuable asset to have. Now, the people that really kind of gets me... What was that? The power just flickered for a second. The people that really kind of get to me are the people who tell me that they don't like or want a firearm or are not interested in it because they can't get the ammo for it. Like, for example, 6.5 Carcano is one of those rifles that you can't really get ammunition for. I just went to go check on the powder mill to make sure that the power flickering wasn't that thing detonating. But there's people out there who will tell me they're not interested because they can't get ammunition for whatever rifle it is that they're wanting to get, despite the fact that ammunition is actually available. Like, the amount of people I hear who tell me that 6.5 Carcano is like unobtainium are people who have no idea what AmmoSeek is and just how many options of 6.5 Carcano are actually out there on the market, especially now that we've had this massive flood of 6.5 Carcano rifles. Carcano, however it is you feel like pronouncing that, someone's going to yell at me for it. But then there's people out there who actually know that ammunition is unavailable and unobtainium. But there's ways around it. Like, well, before I go getting into example, I'm just going to say that those guns where the ammunition is actually difficult to find, those are the guns that I really like, and that's going to make so many people upset because so many people see firearms literally as just tools for practical purposes, and these old, obsolete things are just a waste of money to them. But that's what I like. I really enjoy it so much that I made a whole YouTube channel off of it. And these old firearms with rare ammunition, that's what I really enjoy taking out to shoot. So here's an example. I got a couple of them sitting over here in this corner. This right here is a Steyr 8890. A lot of people are not interested in early Steyr rifles because they're chambered in 8x50 Steyr, which is a very hard cartridge to find. Now, that being said, these same people who talk about that don't know that you can fire 7.62 by 54 rimmed, which is a very common cartridge. You can fire those out of this rifle just fine. Granted, the bullets are a little bit smaller, so you're not going to get the greatest of accuracy. However, that being said, once you fire that 7.62 by 54R, you officially have fire-formed 8x50 brass that you can reload with proper-sized bullets to fire from your rifle and get actual accuracy from it. But yeah, the people who are saying that that is unobtainable, no, it's very obtainable. Like, you just don't feel like doing the most minute of work to be able to fire a rifle. People like rifles that you can just go out and get ammunition that is very readily available at every freaking store that you can think of, with very, very minimal effort, and they want very little cost. They want maximum amount of stuff and no cost. That's why so many people, like, their entire worlds just revolve around 9mm, 223, and 308. And there's very little that you could not do with those cartridges. But that being said, even the most minimal amount of effort, if you wanted, like, actual accurate ammunition, you could do that with 54 rimmed just through this rifle, nice and simply. Or if you're fine with not having the most accurate of rifles, you can just fire 7.62 by 54 rimmed through these rifles, no problem. Now, that being said, there are some rifles out there that are a little bit more difficult to shoot. Like, for example, I got this one right here. This is a Vetterli rifle, 10.4 Vetterli. This is not the 6.5 Carcano Vetterli rifle that everyone is so infatuated over, and they say it's going to blow up in your hands. It's not, assuming that you do the proper things to make sure that it does not blow up in your hands. But those old Vetterli rifles, people don't, like, 6.5 Carcano is an available round, but people don't want to do the minimal amount of effort of dumping out a little bit of powder to get themselves a powder charge that won't damage their rifle. These are just black powder rifles. They're not made for smokeless powder. And that's with already existing ammunition. So the odds of somebody going out to make ammunition or find brass or do something to be able to fire a rifle like this right here, a 10.4 millimeter Vetterli rifle, which is an incredibly uncommon cartridge and round, the odds of that happening are extremely slim. But I am the kind of guy to do it. So I actually have right here some 10.4 Vetterli ammunition, and this stuff right here has been reformed, or I guess formed, from 8mm Lebel brass, which seems to work pretty well. I have not actually fired this rifle to determine that. I get the feeling this rifle is going to keyhole because the barrel inside of it is just completely shot out. So I'm not all that concerned about accuracy through this particular rifle or those particular cartridges, but it would be nice to be able to shoot here on the channel. Maybe I'll get myself another one of these, or maybe I'll do something with the barrel, re-rifle it. I'll figure something out. But this is one of those examples where I could understand not wanting a rifle because getting the components to be able to shoot something like this could be a little bit more difficult. Whenever people tell me that they don't want something like this because ammunition is unavailable, that's where I start to be like, okay, yeah, that I get. And then there's something like this right here. This is my 1874 Gras, and it's actually in quite nice shape. I'm very impressed with this rifle considering its age. But this rifle is a black powder rifle, and ammunition for it basically does not exist. Now, that being said, it does exist out there on the market. You could get original ammo, or you could get stuff that is made nowadays, sort of. But the big issues with getting ammo for the Gras is it's like $15 a shot, which is mind-bogglingly insane. As a matter of fact, I was looking for brass for the Gras, and it was like $120 for 20 pieces of brass, and that is insane prices. So if someone tells me they don't want a Gras because they can't shoot it, I 110% understand that one. I don't want to shoot the Gras either at those prices. So this is one of the rifles where it's one of those examples where there's a will, there's a way. I don't want to spend all that money. So I started doing research on how people fire these rifles without spending a tremendous amount of money. And, well, I came up with a solution. This right here is a shell insert for our Grau rifle here. And this is a 410 shotgun shell. This slides into the shell adapter, just like this right here. And now you can fire this through your Grau. The company that made these said that you can fire 410 slugs out of these, and they do not keyhole with your Grau, assuming that your Grau is not worn out. And this one right here very much is. The inside is just completely gone. So that's why I've got birdshot, because it's basically a smooth bore at this point. We'll send some slugs through it. We'll see if we get keyholing. We'll see what happens with that. You are going to have a little bit of pressure loss, because it's a 410 bullet moving through I think it's a 440 diameter bore. I don't know, I haven't actually bore tested. I haven't actually slugged the bore on one of these to see what it actually comes out to. But there's going to be a little bit of a gap, but the beautiful thing about shotgun shells is they're designed to burn all their powder basically immediately, because they're not designed to withstand or hold pressure anyway, because they're shotgun shells. So that is definitely a good thing for these rifles, because that means that you'll be able to maybe get a cartridge that does not keyhole while still getting some adequate velocity. But for the people who tell me that they don't want to shoot, or they don't want to get a Grau because they can't get ammo for the Grau, yeah, that one I get. I can't get ammo for the Grau because I just don't have the budget for it. Like, I just don't have the budget to spend a stupid amount of money on a very small amount of ammunition. And that's why I got this right here, because 410 shotgun shells are like 60 cents a shot, and that is definitely much more viable to send through a Grau. So, I don't really know how to conclude this episode, so I guess I'll just do a recap. There's a bunch of people out there who say that you don't need old guns, they're just a waste of money because they're not practical. I like old guns. Then there's people who say you can't get ammo for old guns. Well, a lot of the people that are saying you can't get ammo for, like, say, 6.5 Carcano, yes you can. You absolutely can. Or something like 8x50 Steyr, like what I got right there. 7.62x54 rimmed. It fires through the rifle, and then you got Fireform brass, so you can load up your own appropriate ammunition. But then there's other ones that are a little bit more viable, like 10.4 Vetterli. Oh, this is an empty case. 10.4 Vetterli or 11mm Grau. Like, things like that. Yeah, I get it. Those ones I get. 110%. Anyway, folks, thanks for watching. Appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. Description below has a link to all sorts of stuff. Go check it out. You guys go off. Have yourself a fantastic time. I'll see you on the next episode.
Been a little while since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. Poor man's Garen. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.